So to palpate sternocleidomastoid, I'm going to begin with the superior attachment, which some of you may call the distal attachment. Either way is fine. Going to begin by contacting Eric's ears and dropping posterior to that to feel the bony prominence, which is the mastoid process. And I'm also going to line the rest of my fingers up to represent the lateral half of the superior nuchal line. So the mastoid and the bony ridge right here is the superior attachment or the distal attachment. So from this end, the muscle travels inferiorly and medially to its inferior attachment or its origin, which some of you might choose to say. To palpate that, I'm going to come to the front of Eric's shoulders and just feel for the bony ridge of the clavicle, and I'm going to follow it to its bony prominent end, which isn't so prominent on Eric, so I'm having a little bit of trouble finding it. Just a moment, there we go. Alright, so right to there. So this medial third of the clavicle, where both of my fingers are representing about this much space of the clavicle, most midline, closest to midline, is one part of the origin or inferior attachment. And if I place my finger one finger pace just beside midline, I'm on the sternal head, which attaches to the superior aspect of the manubrium. If I was doing the right one, I would come off that head of the clavicle and drop right beside midline and represent it on the right hand side. Okay, so just to summarize, the inferior attachment, or what you might call the origin, is the medial third of the clavicle and the superior aspect of the manubrium. Okay? This muscle has lots of actions. If one side is working, or if this side is working, the one side will ipsilaterally side flex, so take the ear to the shoulder on the same side, or it will contralaterally rotate, taking the nose to the opposite side. If these muscles are working together, they will do capital extension, which is just basically putting your nose in the air, looking up, and they will also flex the entire cervical spine, okay, thrusting the chin forward. So I'm going to choose the bilateral action plus the contralateral rotation to get this muscle to work. I'm going to choose the left-hand side to do this. So I'm going to ask you, Eric, to just lift your head off the table and turn to your right. Okay, so I can see this muscle raised and working very nicely. Let me just put your head down if you get tired, Eric. But hold it there until I say I'm done if you can. So from this superior attachment, I'm going to palpate this muscle belly. You can see its rounded shape here. And then it breaks off, and you can actually see the dent here. It breaks off into its clavicular head, going down to the clavicle, which is flatter, and the thinner sternal head. And it becomes quite tendinous as it goes to the manubrium. And you can relax now.
Can you do it on this side, please?
What was that?
Can you do it on this side, please?
Sure. Is that okay, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, so the bilateral action, lift your head off the table, and now look to the left. That's the contralateral rotation, palpating from the superior attachment. It's very wide up here. From the superior attachment, follow the clavicular head, which is flatter, down to the clavicle, and then the prominent sternal head, which becomes quite tendinous, down to the manubrium, and you can relax.
Manubrium